Hello and welcome to the 2021 Meiringen Boulder World Cup here in the heart of Switzerland, and it's semi-finals time. My name's Matt Groom and we've had a long break since the last Boulder World Cup, so it is great to be back bringing you all the action from the pinnacle of competition climbing. I'm very lucky to be joined by Jakob Schubert. Jakob, first of all, I'm sorry about qualifications. You didn't make it through to the semis. It was tough out there.
Oh yeah, hey, great to be here. Thanks, Matt. Yeah, qualification World Cup is always really hard to make it through. There are a lot of strong guys. This time I was one try short of making it, but that's the game.
Well, I'm sorry for you, but I am very lucky to have you here with me in the commentary box, giving me some expert opinions about the athletes, their state of mind, and the boulders on offer here today. But whilst we've been chatting about the qualifications, let's show the highlights, a little teaser of what took place yesterday. Hello and welcome to the 2021 Boulder World Cup here in Switzerland. It's been a while since our last World Cup due to the coronavirus, but the athletes and us are back. So today we're going to give you a little snippet, a teaser of the qualification rounds to get you guys excited for the semi-finals and finals tomorrow. This is some Inception stuff, because Alex Megos is on screen in the edit that you're watching as well. It's blowing my mind. So I'm not going to think about it. Instead, I'm going to go and find Alex Megos and have a little chat. Alex, welcome back to IFSC competing. It's been a while since we've done a bouldering World Cup.
It's been a very long while. Actually, I can't even remember the last one.
Did you feel a little rusty out there, or did it all come back to you pretty quickly?
I always feel rusty during bouldering competitions, to be honest, but I'm happy I could perform relatively well today, and yeah, made it to semis, thankfully.
What are your aims for this whole competition period? Because we're coming up to the Olympics now, less than 100 days to go. Is this all competition practice for you at this point? I
mean, it is kind of getting more experience. That's the most important part for me at the moment, and just going to comps and having fun. And yeah, so far it's going good.
Well, Alex, best of luck tomorrow. Hopefully we'll see you in the final.
Thank you, that'd be great. Would be my first.
Sasha, in front of your home crowd, except they're not here at the moment, but still, it must have felt great to just qualify into that semi-final position.
Yeah, of course, it's a great feeling. We didn't have that many semis places for the men's in the last years, so yeah, it's great to be in semis tomorrow and to climb again.
It's been a while since I last saw you, Moscow. How has your sort of build-up to this season gone since then?
Well, yeah, after Moscow I took a little break. All the emotional stuff was heavy. Yeah, but then we started training with the team together. We had a great time. Luckily, we could train well. So, yeah, it was a good start into the year.
Awesome. Well, I know people throughout Switzerland and throughout the world are going to be screaming for you tomorrow, so best of luck.
Thanks a lot. I'm going to have fun.
Nathaniel, welcome to Switzerland. You guys travelling from America, it must have been quite difficult with the coronavirus and everything, but it must be good to be here.
Yeah, it's good to be here. We had to take a few less days than we're used to adjust to jet lag, but we're feeling okay.
It's been a while since our last World Cup. How are you feeling in terms of competing and your level at the moment?
It was really good for me to get back into the competition mindset with our team trials, which were not too long ago. Physically, I feel as good as ever, so it was good for me to have a good day in qualifiers and know I still got it.
Well, look, it's a pleasure to see you and the entire American team here, and best of luck for tomorrow.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Petra, we're here in Meiringen in Switzerland. How does it feel to be competing and on home soil?
Well, first of all, it's just amazing to be back competing on a climbing wall, and I mean, starting that back at home here in Meiringen, it's incredible.
The build-up, I mean, it's been interesting watching all the athletes' social media feeds, but we've got no idea really of the level of everyone. What's it like coming back and just seeing where everyone's at?
Well, it's really interesting. So, as you said, it's like, I don't know where I stand in comparison to the other athletes. It's hard to know if you're in shape or not. You just have your own feeling, kind of some comparison in training. But I was just so psyched to come back climbing and competing. So, yeah, and seeing all of my big family, my climbing family.
It feels a bit like going back to school for the first time, doesn't it? Like everyone's around again. You're just like seeing everyone after the long holidays.
Yeah, exactly. And it also was interesting for me to see that I actually was really nervous coming back. It was kind of the same feeling as when I did my first World Cup, like coming back and the nerves are like shit. Did I pack all my things? Do I have my shoes? Checking 3 times, going to the toilet 5 times. So that was kind of nice to have that again.
Awesome. Well, look, best of luck for tomorrow. I'm sure everyone in Switzerland is going to be rooting for you.
Thank you so much.
Jessie, you've just finished your qualifying round. How did it go for you out there?
I felt actually pretty good. I started with the slab and did a flash, and I'm normally not that good on slab, so it was a good start. Yeah.
How different is it with all the rules and regulations? Because things are a bit different with the coronavirus this year.
Yeah, in Switzerland, the restrictions are pretty soft, I think. So in Austria, they are much harder, but yeah, it's just so good to be back on a competition, and yeah, I think all athletes are really excited.
What's it like? Because it's been so long since we've seen our last competition. Is it hard to judge where you're at and where all the other athletes have been at when you've been training?
I mean, you see a lot on Instagram how the athletes are training, and also how strong they are on the Beastmaker or one-arm pull-ups and stuff. So I guess everyone was training really hard and had access to the gyms as well. And yeah, I think all athletes are pretty strong.
Cool. Well, Jessie, best of luck for tomorrow.
Thank you.
So there we go. That was yesterday's qualification round. Today we've got the semi-finals and the finals for the women and men. 20 men, 20 women have made it through to this stage. Jakob, you're obviously an expert at this stage of things. Talk to me about what's going to be going through those athletes' mind as they get ready for the semi-finals.
Well, I mean, obviously it's different for every athlete, but usually bouldering World Cup is really, really hard to make it through to semifinals. In the qualification, that's where there are so many people. You can't afford to do a single mistake, otherwise you're out. I think I'm the best example for that. In semifinals, usually the round is way harder. So if you have a really high level, it's a lot easier to make it to finals. So usually the round with the most pressure, I think, is the qualification, and semi-final you can climb with a bit less pressure. It's definitely more pressure for the people that won qualification, like Adam, the people where everyone expects them to make finals. And I think the first few people out that we will see that maybe even had a bit of luck to make it to semis, they can climb completely relieved. They're just happy to be here, and I think we have to pay attention for those guys as well.
Exactly. Well, they're on the wall right now. There is Elena Krasovskaya of Russia. She's starting off on the slab on women's 1. Meanwhile, over on men's number 1 is Sascha Lehmann. Of course, Swiss athlete climbing in front of his home crowd here. Jakob, I always think it's a bit tough starting with a slab because, I mean, personally, when I get nervous, my legs start shaking, and trying to stand on those tiny, tiny footholds on the slab, that's got to be a tricky start.
Yeah. I mean, that's why the root setters really like to start with a slap. You know, we get ready in the ISO, we try to activate ourselves, we get explosive, but then we actually have to be super calm and like switch off all the explosiveness that we activated to stay on those small chips. And yeah, it's definitely hard and often nerve-wracking to start on the slab. And I prefer it to, like, obviously, you want to have a good start, right? And you want to start with your strengths. So people that really love slabs, it's maybe a nice start for them. People that prefer fitness boulders, they would rather start with a fitness boulder.
That's Elena there, as we can see on women's one, going from right to left on the slab as Sasha does a running start just to get himself established. Now, Jakob, we were chatting to the root setters about men's number one. It starts off with this, as we can see, a very delicate sort of beginning to this boulder, and you've got to take your time. You can't rush that. And then it finishes with a coordination dyno at the end that you actually were saying to me you didn't think it was too hard, that jump.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say if you don't actually stand in there and try to jump. I'm not certain how good that second to last hold is, but it definitely looks harder to get to the bonus than from the bonus to the top. And that's actually really tricky. Like, often if you don't even get a bonus on a boulder, it gives you a huge disadvantage now that bonus matters so much. So I think Sasha is already stressing a bit to actually even at least reach the bonus. And once you reach the bonus, you can take a deep breath and actually go for the top.
So
now he's getting close.
These bonus holds we're talking about, that is Sasha there reaching down with his right hand. He's there, touch that bonus. It's called the zone. Now, the aim of the game in the Bouldering World Cups is to get to the top of the boulder. That's the top, and that's what you're scored on the highest. But if you can touch one of those zones as well, that will help towards your overall score. So it's important that the athletes aim for those zones. And you can see Sasha there touching that zone hold as he starts to bring his right foot over to that slam, just missing the balancing point there.
Yeah, I think he's already quite psyched that at least he has that zone now. That's really important. You don't want to go to the second boulder and not even have the zone on the slab. So that was a big accomplishment for him.
There we go, all the focus in the world as Elena balances her way across, gets that thumb catch on the red hold, but doesn't manage to make it stick. If you're just joining us, welcome to the semi-finals here in Meiringen. My name is Matt Groom, and I am joined by Austrian climbing star, let's be honest, Jakob Schubert, who narrowly missed out on a semi-finals place, but we are lucky enough to have his expertise here in the commentary box. Jakob is going to be with me for about an hour, and then Sophia Yokoyama of Switzerland is going to be joining me for the second half of the semi-final. As Sasha again balancing his way out to that zone hold, that bonus. Just not quite getting his feet in the right place for this move, Jakob.
Yeah, I mean, it seems really tricky, like every slab. It's really hard to find the right body positioning and especially just find the right beta, right? Like sometimes the beta of the root setters, once you found it, it's actually not too hard, but actually finding it in those 5 minutes, that's the trick. That's the difficulty in the slab.
Exactly, 13 seconds to go. Once that buzzer runs out, that will be it for the athletes. You can see Sasha knowing he's running out of time there. Elena with 5 seconds to go. She's still on the boulder, giving it everyone. That's it, she's going to be timed out. These athletes now, they go backstage. They get to rest for 5 minutes, recompose themselves as 2 more athletes come out to join us. Katja Debovic of Slovenia and Gregor Vazonik on men's boulder 1.
Yeah, we got a really, really strong slab climber on boulder 1 for the men now. Gregor made semis because he did the slab yesterday, which was already a hard slab in the qualification, and it was a bit similar. So I'm really excited to see him on this one.
Yeah, Gregor's been walking around all weekend. Like, I've seen him hoodie up. He's been very, very focused. Seems to be in his own little world.
Well, I mean, I think he's really happy to make it to semis. He's the guy that is 1 try ahead of me and made it, and it was so close, so I think he was on the kicker for a while as well, so he's definitely just happy to give it all 1 more time. And yeah, like I said, he's a really good slab climber, so I think we can see a top here.
So we can see the differences between Sasha and Gregor as he stares down to that zone hold. This move requires either a foot pop or a foot swap to get in the correct position for that dyno at the end. Now, currently we've got 2 athletes on the wall. Things will be getting a lot more busy as more athletes come and join us. Semi-finals lasting about 2 hours here. So if you're sitting at home with a cup of coffee, welcome. We're here in Meiringen, and it is so good to be back for an IFSC Boulder World Cup.
Really nice balance by Katja here. Looking good to get the bonus. The zone, sorry.
Yeah, Katja just taking her time. Those footholds, they look small on screen, they're smaller in real life. As you can see, just getting that thumb catch and that zone hold. Right, she's established now. She looks in control. She brings that right foot through and crosses onto the yellow hold. Not a lot of friction on that, Jakob.
I think we should see a top here. Come on, Katja.
No! Just dropping that. Jakob, a move like that requires so much core to stay onto the wall as well, because it looked like she had that with the left hand, looks like she was stable, but just didn't bring that right hand in enough quickly.
Well, it's also a lot about, like, I think, confidence and decisiveness. It seemed like she didn't just go ham enough, basically. I think she had to get that hold with both hands. It's not good enough to hold it with one hand, so she needs to step up even harder with more explosiveness, reach that hold with 2 hands, and get it under control.
Yeah, Gregor now very good on slabs, as Jakob was saying, as he does that running start and just loses his feet in that moment. You can see the brushes on the ground. That's used to clean the holds. As you can see, they get very chalky. When they get chalky, the friction gets less, so the climbers will be brushing the holds to give themselves the maximum chance of sending. We're sticking with Gregor here on the other side of the wall. Katja has just taken a fall on the start of her slab with 1 minute and 46 seconds to go. Plenty of time here.
Okay, completely different try of a beta from Gregor now. Trying to do that crossover foot match. But he's really not rushing it with the bonus. I'm not sure if did he get the bonus on the first try or?
Yeah, we'll pull that up and find out. But you're right, he seems to be taking his time into that. He has got time, 1 minute 20 seconds left, as he just takes his moment, tightens up his shoes. These slab problems are so tricky to gauge for the athletes. As Jakob said, a lot of the time, they'll be hyping themselves up for some power moves and coming out seeing a slab.
Yeah, no. I think he has no bonus yet. It was like, it's really different. Like, it seemed like Sasha was really going for the bonus. He didn't really it seemed like he didn't care too much about the top yet. He was making sure to get the bonus. I think Gregor has more confidence in the slab. He thinks he can do that boulder and he doesn't care too much about the bonus, but it can also backfire. He really needs that bonus if he doesn't, at least he needs the bonus if he doesn't get the top.
Yeah, he's moving.
So yeah, now he's going for the bonus.
Yeah, more purpose there, wasn't it? You can see him driving down to it. Tries to cross his foot through, and he's actually looking pretty good here.
Nice! Top by Katja, and maybe a top by Gregor. Come on, Gregor.
Yeah, Gregor eyeing it up. There's the jump.
Yes! Looking at the clock and getting it. Nice.
So there we go with 7 seconds to go. Both athletes completed that slab. Nice to see a top.
So yeah, I was kind of right, I guess. Once he had the bonus under control, the jump was no problem for him. So yeah, it's going to be exciting to see if that's going to be the case for all the climbers.
Yeah, and Sean Bailey from the USA, he's joined us on that slab #1. Sasha Lehman is in the middle.
Yeah.
And Ayala Karim from Israel, she's on women's slab #1. So things are starting to hot up here.
Yeah, really important last-minute top by Gregor here. You always want to top the boulders that are your style, and he's definitely a slab climber, so that's a really important and good start for him.
There is Sean Bailey, Team USA, getting through the coronavirus restrictions. That has made it difficult for all the athletes, but it's fantastic to be back and competing after so long away. Ayala Karim there on the right-hand side. She just has a little chat to the judge, possibly about the starting position required. Those green holds that you can see on the screen there, Sean Bailey, as he starts off, that's where the athlete has to start. So each green line represents a different limb for the athlete. So Sean started with the undercling, 2 hands on the top and 2 feet on the bottom as he touches that zone and then stands back up again. Jakob, all he needs to do is touch that zone, control it, and then he can move on with the boulder as he starts to crimp that, eyeing up this next section. And Jakob, there's the line in the wall there that you can see across the middle of the screen. There is a sort of a different in angle, and the athletes can use that to just slightly press against it.
Oh yeah, it definitely helps to like keep your body on the wall. I mean, yeah, he presses the wall to get his foot higher, and now he gets into the position to jump. Oh, and he just loses balance before actually getting into the position. That's sometimes dangerous. He wanted to get a better position to make the jump even easier, but maybe, yeah, he risked by doing that, falling off, and maybe he should have just jumped right away.
Sascha Lehmann on men's 2. We get a look at that boulder for the first time. This is a sort of a dino-y move in the middle. There's Elena there just on women's 2. Now, women's 2 is a compression problem. That means it's sort of very muscular, requires a much different style for that women's number 1. So the women go from this slab into a very, very physical boulder. It's a totally different mindset for them.
Oh yes, that's the same for the man. That was the same in qualification. We always started from the side into the middle. So everyone starts on the slab and then gets to the physical boulders. And yeah, that's definitely difficult. Like I said, you warm up, you get explosive, you get ready, then you have to calm yourself down for the slab, and then you have to activate yourself again and get like super ready for the physical boulders.
And remember, we have the finals to come tonight, live on the IFSC YouTube channel. So these athletes, as well as trying to get through into the finals, they have to save a little bit of themselves for that finals.
Yeah, I don't think anyone is saving.
Yeah, full send at the moment. These are tricky boulders. The route setters have had to guess in a way of the athlete's level because it's been so long since we've seen competition climbing, but I think they've nailed it so far.
Oh yeah, I mean, it definitely, especially men's qualification was almost perfectly set in my opinion. In both rounds, he needed 2 tops with not too many tries to make it through. So that was really well set. For the girls, one group was really good, one group was a bit easier. I think they tried to make them really equal, but yeah, for the women, sorry. And that was not perfect, but it was still a good qualification. And so far, I think we are seeing really hard bowls in semis as well, so that's good to see.
Elena Kazovskaya there on women's number 2. She looks up. Ayala Karim from Israel as she pops up onto that slab. You can see her left hand trying to use nothing on that slab, but it seemed to work as she gained purchase. And now this delicate tightrope tiptoe across.
Yeah, both physical boulders that we see from women and men look really hard. Sasha is struggling on the first move, and also the Russian woman is struggling to even get into the starting position. Katya. Oh no, Elena, sorry.
Yeah, Elena swinging up.
Yes, finally.
Sean Bailey making a top as he matches.
Yeah, I mean, Sean was walking that start all the time, getting to the jump, and now he finally sticks it. That was a really good performance by him on the men's number 1.
Yeah, to top out these boulders, to complete the boulder, the athletes have to match. So they have to have both hands on the final hold in a controlled manner. So they can't just slap for it and fall off, that doesn't count. And the top of a boulder is marked by a green line and the word top in a blue circle. So keep an eye out for that. That's our climbing wall here in Meiringen. We have a new set of athletes. That is Julia Chanaudy of France, recently climbing 9B outside, which is, as you know, Jakob, an incredibly hard grade to achieve outside, and it just shows the form that Julia's in at the moment.
Yeah, that's incredible. I mean, climbing 9B as a woman, that's a huge accomplishment that really not a lot of women have to say for themselves. So, yeah, I mean, bouldering on a World Cup is definitely really different to climbing a 9B outside, but I think she has shown in the past that she can also boulder really well, so I'm excited to see her performance here today.
Yoshiko Ogata from Japan, the Japanese team, very strong here this weekend. A lot of depth in that team. I'm always amazed when you look down the Japanese list, just how many good climbers there are.
Oh yeah, and there are always coming some new really strong ones. Just like yesterday, I was on the kicker for a while, still in semis, but I knew there was a Japanese guy coming that hasn't started in a World Cup yet, so he was quite late, and we all knew he's going to be a machine, because we all know every every Japanese is a machine.
Catcher there on women's 2. This is the compression boulder, the powerful one. As you can see, her right foot toe hooking around that arete, that corner of the climbing wall. She's looking comfortable as she touches the zone.
Yeah.
Jakob, you can see the athletes there using their toes and their heels on the wall. The rubber of the climbing shoes wrapping around both those. That just gives them a little extra purchase.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's definitely important to use your heels, your toes, and also your toe hooks, you know, like the front side of your shoe. Especially when it comes down to volume climbing and on big holds, there is a lot more heel hooking than there was in the past.
That's Katja there on our screen as she tops out. Big smile on her face with 2 minutes 50 to go on the clock.
And Katja has 2 tops already, so she's looking in really good form.
There is Yoshiyuki of Japan as he brings that left foot through. You can see trying to use some different techniques. Takes a moment to chalk up.
I mean, Yoshiyuki is one of the strongest physical climbers out there, I think, like in the world. So he's maybe struggling more on slabs sometimes, but I think if he can manage this one, then he's a huge candidate for finals. It's going to be really interesting to see him on men's too, because that's going to be 100% his style, and we haven't seen a top on that one so far.
Absolutely, as he eyes up this jump. There was, when I was chatting to the route setters this morning, they were sort of talking about perhaps that last dyno being almost a double move, so not stopping, but almost every athlete we've seen has latched that second hold, paused for a moment, and then gone into the second, more dynamic move. Do you think we'll see any athletes kind of moving through in a double dyno?
I don't really think so. I think the second to last hold looks good enough to control it, and it's definitely risky to just go to the top hold. You're not 100% sure how good it's going to be, so if you have the feeling you can control the hold before, it's just safer, and you don't want to fall on the last move. So if you can make it safe, then you're going to do that.
Absolutely. There is Gregor Vazonik topping out that tricky slab as he just eyes it up, chalking up. 1:12 on the clock, plenty of time to get this done. Julia Shanodi, she's on the right-hand side. We can watch her here from our commentary box. She's back on her slab. Gregor slaps out right. That left hold, Jakob, that black hold, not a lot of grip on that.
No, yeah, that's a flat hold. Those often have not too much grip, but also it looks like it's a lot about the foothold. Gregor slipped just before he was going for the next hold, so the foothold is really bad, and you have to make sure that you get pressure from it. If you slip before you do the move, obviously you're not going to get the momentum to do the big move. But yeah, this boulder looks really powerful.
30 seconds on the clock. The athlete's starting to speed up as Yoshiyuki looks back at the clock as he falls. He knows time's ticking away as he runs back on.
It's kind of a heartbreaker for Yoshiyuki. He was like really close on that try before. And yeah, it looks like we can't see a top from him, but he has the bonus, and I think the boulders that are coming up next are more his style.
Absolutely, as he packs his things away. Gregor as well calls it a day with 6 seconds to go. Slight pause now while we breathe here in the commentary box. As you can see, the volunteers wiping down the brushes there. Strict coronavirus guidelines being followed. As Sean Bailey in the center of your screen. He picks up the brush to prepare this physical men's 2.
Even a bonus, even a zone on men's 2 means so much right now. I mean, we haven't seen a zone on that boulder, so doing a zone on a boulder where there are barely any zones obviously gives you a huge boost in the ranking. So, and who knows, maybe the top part is easier than the bottom part. So if you get ahead by not just a zone, but a whole top and a zone, that's huge for the road to finals.
That's our scores at the moment for the women. Things will change, of course. We have 20 athletes for the women coming through, 20 athletes for the women, 20 athletes for the men. Narrowed down for 6 for the finals later on this evening. Sean Bailey there on the corner of your screen, just taking a jump and a fall.
It looks like you almost have to triple that or like double clutch on that men's 2, like not stop on the black, but even go to the bonus. Or I'm not sure how good the black hold is, but so far it doesn't look like anyone can control the first blue hold and the black volume. So maybe you have to keep going for the zone.
Yeah, apparently you shouldn't really stop until you get that zone. So it's all in one movement, and then the zone is where you pause, recompose.
Yeah, that's how it looks like, yeah. Oh, and another Slovenian girl on the top of number 1.
Yeah, that's Lučka Tarkas. She makes quick work of that.
Really young girl, I think.
3 minutes 19 to go as she goes backstage. Meanwhile, Sean Bailey attempts that double clutch move that Jakob was talking about. Ayala Karim there of Israel as she looks up at women's number 2.
Yeah, so far only Slovenian tops in the women category. I mean, yeah, Slovenia is really making a name for themselves as a country. I mean, they have so many talented climbers, it's crazy. And we all know the queen of the women that's coming out last, so.
Yes, Jakob, of course, is talking about Janja Garnbret, and we will discuss her later on. The order of the semi-finals is based on their qualifying position, so the athletes who just got into the semi-finals, they climb first, and the athletes who won the qualification round, they'll come last. So if you're sitting here thinking, where is Janja? She's coming up. Adam Ondra, Domin Škofec. Lots of exciting climbers to come. 2 minutes 13 on the clock. So that's Ross Fulkerson from Team USA. Team USA looking very strong this weekend. A number of their athletes in this semi-final.
Yes, definitely. I mean, they definitely showed up in qualification. Let's hope they can keep going, and we get to see some US climbers in finals as well.
Yeah, awesome to see everyone making the effort.
I mean, yeah, I think Ross even celebrates his first semi-final, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, he's very new to this. I know Team USA, I'm sitting here in the commentary box looking at them all in the crowd, everyone supporting all the athletes and coaches.
And that men's number 2 definitely looks like it's the hardest bonus of the round, I think. We haven't seen the top part yet, maybe that one is easier, but to reach that bonus on that boulder, I'm sure that's like the hardest bonus of the round.
There is Ross Fulkerson as he stretches that zone, that bonus hold down on his right. There he goes, reaching for it with his fingertips, gets that. That's points on the board for him as he walks his feet.
Very well done. That was like amazing technique.
Yeah, fluid climbing from him as he sticks the jump.
That's amazing. First semi-finals and then doing a quick top on the slab. That gives him a huge boost, and I think, yeah. I mean, when you start with such a top, that gives you a lot of confidence and a lot of motivation and strength for the next boulders. So
it's worth remembering that these boulders, the athletes haven't practiced them before. This is the first time they've tried to climb them. And in fact, it's the first time they've seen them when they've run out. So not only do they have to perform at their absolute limit, they don't really know where they're going. So route reading is important. And you'll see sometimes the more experienced athletes will get that quicker. That's Sasha Lehmann in the middle from Switzerland. Sasha just missing out on that Olympic place, Jakob, in Moscow. He was absolutely devastated after that, so emotional. So good to see him back on the World Cup stage here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was really sad for him. I mean, obviously, Sasha is a good friend, and yeah, like many others, he also deserves to be at the Olympics. Unfortunately, there are only 20 spots. That's just not a lot of spots, you know. I think he would definitely deserve to be there, but that's how the game is played. It was really unfortunate for him in Moscow. I remember the lead route being a bit too easy, and he couldn't really show what he's got in his arms because usually he's a main lead climber. So it's good to see him in a bouldering semi-final as well.
Yeah, absolute powerhouse of a climber. And of course, I'm talking to an Olympian, Jakob. We've got less than 100 days to go now. I've never spoken to an Olympic athlete, so tell me, what's your nerves at this stage of the process?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think we are not too nervous yet. I mean, there is some time left, but I think for all the Olympic athletes, it's the main event of this year, and everything that comes before it is basically preparation for it. We all just really want to do well on the first Olympic Games of our sport. And I think also a lot of comp planning and regarding the calendar for the Olympic athletes all plays around the Olympics, right? we definitely will see some athletes skipping some comps to focus on training. And yeah, it's interesting to see how the tactics of each climber differ.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, on screen, we see the Slovenian athlete Vita Lukan as she pads her way across this slab. Vita composing herself on this tricky step-through move. You can see just trying to find the balancing point. She's going to bring that left foot forward onto that little yellow hold. There, as you can see, as she ballet dances her way down to it.
Oh my God. And we just missed the first climber doing man's number 2. There is a top by Yoshiko Ogata on men's number 2. I was telling you before, his strength is going to be on men's number 2, and he doesn't disappoint us with a flash.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see a replay of that. There's a lot of athletes on stage at the moment. Cameras can't keep up with everything, so we are watching. We'll keep you updated as Vita Lukan takes a fall. Julia Shanodi picks up a brush, gives that hold a clean. As we said earlier, chalk on those holds mean you can lose a bit of friction. The athletes just cleaning them to give themselves the maximum chance of sending.
There we see the replay, already sticking the bonus, and then, yeah.
Yoshiyuki's so strong. This is his style, isn't it? This physicality.
Oh yeah, I mean, he's such a strong physical climber, and he made the bottom look easy, actually. It was not a flash, excuse me, but it was in the third try. But yeah, once he reached the bonus, he made the top look really easy. That's maybe a little flaw of the boulder, that it seems like if you reach the bonus, you basically reach the top.
There is Vita Lukan as she goes out into this final section of this women's slab number 1. She takes a moment trying to put her foot up onto that tiny little yellow crimp. Eyes the top now. It's a pop. She's got to get both hands on it. She does. Looks down, gets confirmation from the judges.
So I think we have 3 tops on woman number 1, and all 3 tops are by Slovenian women.
Just shows the quality in that squad. That is Yannick Flo of Germany on our screen right now. Yannick, a very good outdoor climber as much as an indoor climber. That's an interesting move, that. He sort of tried to hop his left foot through.
Yeah, I don't think that was the right beta, and I think he knows it. But yeah, sometimes you have to try different betas to find the right one, and now he knows that's not the one, and he's trying something else on his next try.
Time is ticking down though, 45 seconds on the clock now. Yannick Flo back on the wall, almost slips, but just finds purchase with that right foot. As he eyes up that second volume.
Yeah, and I think we have also not seen a bonus on men's number 3 yet. The round seems to be pretty difficult, so definitely also a bonus fight so far. A zone fight, sorry, I keep mixing it up.
So we know what you're talking about. The bonus and zones are the extra points hold, so the athletes...
It used to be called bonus back in the day, just for my defense. I'm just on the circuit for too long.
You're old school, Jakob, that's what you are. 7 seconds to go, not going to be enough time. Let's catch her there, she gives it one last jump over to that bonus. 5 minutes on the clock, athletes reset. Hello, if you're watching from home. I hope you've been missing competition climbing. I know we have, and it is so good to be bringing you live action once again. Things are different, of course. Coronavirus is still very prevalent, but all precautions are being made. Athletes being tested. As we see the leaderboard, Slovenia's Katja top, and as you were saying, Jakob, top 3, all Slovenians. Impressive performance by that team so far.
Most of them haven't climbed too many boulders yet, so, but yeah, the slab has only been done by Slovenian women. But I'm sure it's going to change soon, because yeah, there are many other strong women coming out. And we have, speaking of Slovenians, we have another young, strong Slovenian on men's number 1. It's his first semi-final, so quite psyched to see Sudar performing.
Yeah, that is Zan Sudar on men's 1, just off to the left of your screen. He comes into the combination. There he is on the left. Jakob, was that a flash?
Yeah, I think that was a flash. And I mean, it's really interesting to see the American climber Ross and also San. It's both of their first semifinals, and they both come out with a top on men's #1, which is really impressive. But yeah, I mean, obviously, climbing your first semifinal World Cup, you have no pressure. You're just super psyched, motivated, glad to be there, and that really helps on the slab. You don't want to be pressured or nervous at all. So yeah, glad to see them start so well in their first semifinal.
Elena there on women's 4. Now you can see, well, hopefully we'll flick back to that in a minute, but let's talk about Sasha Lehmann on that climb, Jakob, because you spent a long time looking at that this morning. That is a crack, a jamming crack, as we see Elena there inverting herself, feet above her head. We'll talk about that crack in a minute when we return to her, but Elena trying to get some purchase with the top of her toes. So Jakob, that slab we saw on the screen. Oh, Sean Bailey though, on men's 3.
Yeah, that might be the first bonus on the boulder, yes. First zone. Wow.
First zone as he goes up but drops the jug.
Yeah, I think he just didn't get it high enough, but also I don't think he knows the hold, so it's always hard to jump to a hold that you're not certain how to actually hold it. But he made the start look easy, so I'm sure he can get there again.
Sasha Lehmann on that crack, he used a variety of different methods that we'll explore more as we go through the semi-finals. A lot to talk about. But now he presses through into the top section of the boulder. Jakob, Sasha there had a variety of different ways. He was jamming, so he was kind of getting his hand lodged in that crack. And then he lay back the crack, so he had hope hands and he had his body to one side. A lot of different methods.
Yeah, it's definitely exciting to see how all the athletes are going to solve it. I mean, it also depends on your technique. Some climbers like Adam Ondra are definitely going to use the crack and jam it as hard as they can just because they're really good at it. And they don't have to find any other solution because, I mean, it's very obvious that there is a jam there. But Sasha found a different solution, and I'm sure we're going to see many more.
There is Elena with her feet above her head. She's almost spun 360 degrees, and she's looking at the next hold, which is almost another crack, really, between those black volumes. No friction on those volumes, only friction in the middle on the purple section. She toe hooks underneath, then a heel. So technical, that climb.
I think she has to go out right to the next hold and then catch the left hold. But even the last move doesn't look over at all, so definitely a hard woman, #4. And we have our first Austrian woman as well.
Yeah, off your screen over on the right-hand side, it's Francesca. Sean Bailey on men's 3. Exciting stuff so far. Rootset is doing a sterling job with the setting as Sean Bailey goes up to the sloper. Don't drop the jug now, Sean, as he eyes it up. Pops for it, and again, just peeling off.
That's a heartbreaker again. Damn. He was doing so well in the boulder, but unfortunately the time is up. Obviously, I mean, it might be a good hold that he's jumping to, but it's turned sideways. So you have to stop some kind of a swing with the zone hold. The zone hold is really bad, so that's the difficulty of that jump, I think. Being able to control that swing.
That is the first Austrian athlete, your teammate, Jakob. Tell me a bit about Francesca.
Yeah, Francesca has made a huge jump, I think, in the last year. She's training really hard and improved her climbing so much, so I'm really happy to see her in semifinals. She was doing really well on selection competitions and on all our national team trainings, so it's amazing to see her actually being able to transform that into the World Cup, doing really well in the qualification. I hope we can see some tops from her also in this semi-final round.
Absolutely, and that is our leaderboard so far. Austria's Jessie Pilz. Another one of your teammates, Jakob, she's on the far right of your screen. Meanwhile, another Japanese athlete on the left.
And I'm also really excited to see Yoshiko Ogata on #3. Like I said, he's a power machine and this is a power boulder, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see another, or the first top on that boulder.
Yeah, he's on sort of the right-hand side of your screen on that big red volume. You can see flicking that right foot back.
flashes the start. It's on the bonus. But yeah.
Yeah.
That jump seems hard.
It does seem hard, because I sort of half-jokingly said he dropped the jug there. It does look like a jug. It looks like a big hold, but as you said, there's a body position and an angle on that hold, which doesn't make it as easy as it looks.
Yeah, I don't think it's like, I don't know, maybe it's not fair to call it a jug. Maybe it's fair to call it a good hold. At least for a World Cup, it's definitely a better hold than the others, but you just have a lot of swing, and it's turned sideways, so you can't control it with just one hand. You need to stop the swing with the hold before as well.
Tomoaki Takata on men's one, as you can see him padding his way across. Getting that right foot, right hand on the zone, that bonus hold as he spins off the jump.
Yeah, he didn't get his body high enough. You can't get that hold with stretched out arms. You're not going to be able to hold the swing. You need to get it controlled right away, so you're able to control that big swing that you get jumping from the left side.
If you're at home watching this thinking it's confusing, I do understand there are a lot of athletes on screen, so I'd recommend downloading the IFSC app. That gives live updates of the scoring, so you can keep up to date. And Jakob, in fact, has got the IFSC app on his phone. He's looking at that. It's a good download, free, and you can just keep up with all the scoring. That is Yoshiko Ogata on men's three as he pops up to the hold, sticks it this time. Then drops down. Commentators curse, as I said, he stuck that
Yeah, we
hold.
could see he had like so much less swing to the left this time, so he's almost able to hold it, trying to catch his swing with the foot on the red hold, and yeah, he was so close, so let's hope he gets another good try in those 2 minutes and actually is able to send the boulder.
So if you're joining us, welcome to Meiringen. We are here for the semi-finals, the finals taking place later tonight. No crowds in the stadium, but all the athletes, all the coaches here supporting it. And Jakob, it does feel like there is an atmosphere in this room. It doesn't feel dead without a crowd. You can feel there's a tension and excitement in the air.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the hall is still quite crowded because of all the athletes that are watching and coaches, athletes cheering for their friends and fellow teammates. So there's definitely an atmosphere. I think we're all so excited to be back on a World Cup.
Tomoaki there, Tomoaki Takata of Japan. He makes his start to the competition.
Gregor gets the first zone on men's number 4, so let's see that top part.
Yeah, this requires pressing moves to get around this volume. Very awkward, as you can see, slapping with that right hand. He's aiming for the top of it where that chalk section is. Making quick work of that, though.
Yeah, amazing. I mean, I told you when he started today, Gregor is an amazing technical climber. He has really good technique, and that's what helped him a lot on this boulder. I think he found the right body positioning and gets the first top. That was amazing work.
Gregor, a World Cup winner before. He knows what it's like to stand. Off your screen, that is Yoshiko Ogata as he makes the top. Meanwhile, Katja, heel above her head here, looking to bump out, but just drops that heel, shakes of her head with 10 seconds to go, waves to the crowd as we see.
Yoshiko looks in amazing shape to actually have a really good shot on making finals. Obviously, there are a lot of people coming out, and usually you would say the people coming out are getting stronger and stronger, but in a bouldering World Cup, that's not actually always the case. The field is so close together, especially in qualifications, so some of the strongest guys are also sometimes starting first, and I think Yoshiko is definitely one of the strongest physical climbers, so I'm not sure how many tops we're going to see on men's number 2 and 3. They look hard, and he made a big step for making finals by topping those 2 boulders.
Yoshiko is currently leading 2 tops, 3 zones, followed by Gregor Vazonik. 2 tops, 2 zones, and Sean Bailey for the men with 1 top and 2 zones. But things will change as we see Jesse Piltz. Oh, sorry, not Jesse Piltz. Brushing the hold there.
So yeah, I don't know when you usually start by doing predictions what you need to make finals.
I'll try not to. I'll get myself into trouble if I start doing that. But if you're at home and you're watching, what's your predictions? Let us know what you're thinking. That is Camila Moroni.
I think so far we also haven't seen anyone do the jump on women's number 3. So that starting move looks really hard.
Yeah, it does, as we see Camila there on the slab. That's an overview of our bouldering wall. Men's 1 on the left, women's 1 on the right, and then coming into the middle. The athletes on rotation, so they get 5 minutes to climb a boulder, they then get 5 minutes to rest, and then they're back out trying another boulder until their rotation finishes.
Yeah, we see a top by Jakob Schubert here on men's number 1. I mean, the French are really famous for their technique. French climbers somehow are always slap gods. I don't know how they do it, how they produce those climbers, but it's amazing to see such a quick top by a really young French guy.
That is very true. French climbers are good slab climbers. I've never thought of that.
Oh yeah, I mean, they are really amazing. I mean, already back in the day, the French were always famous for their technique, right? And I feel like they never stopped, developing kids that have amazing technique. And already in qualifications, most of the tops that we saw on the slabs were from French climbers, and Jakob Schubert shows us how it's done.
Absolutely. Ross Fulkerson of the USA there, standing for a moment on men's 3, shaking his arms out, trying to get some of that pump.
Oh, yes. Nice job by Franzi. Oh.
Jakob, watching his teammates, it's got to be frustrating for you, mate. I know it's a pleasure for me to have you in the commentary box, but I bet you wish you were out there competing today.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, we climbers, we really love to climb, obviously. So it's not even just about the competing. I just want to try those boulders, you know. If I could just go up there after the round and try the boulders, I would already be quite happy. Unfortunately, that's not possible. So at least I have another teammate coming out for the men, Nikolai Usnik. So he's going to be able to tell me how it was, how the boulders felt like, so I can at least try to live it, you know?
We'll pull some strings, Jakob. You're in the commentary team now. Maybe we can get you in there. Who knows? Sean Bailey on that crack as he eyes it up. Interesting to see how he starts it, as Camila just rushing perhaps through that last section of the slab. Got to move slowly on that. Franziska there, as she gets through the physical start of women's 2.
Very nice job by Franzi. Yes, Franzi, come on.
There's the top. She's going to make it.
Nice.
She does.
Amazing. Great to see her top of the second boulder. And that brings her up quite high. I mean, we haven't seen too many tops on the women's so far, so every top means a lot.
There's Ayla Karim. With 30 seconds to go, she's not giving up. Very, very physical. She'll want that zone for this boulder. Ross flashed up on your screen there. He's going to call it a day. Ayla there.
Sudi trying all sorts of different beta on men's number 2, but unfortunately he has to give up as well.
My name is Matt Groom and I'm joined by Jakob Schubert, athlete, Olympian, giving some expert opinions here as we see the next set of athletes running out. About 45 minutes into this semi-final now, and it's allowing us to really see how these boulders are playing out, Jakob. Are they climbing in the way that you thought they would so far?
Yes, I would think so, yeah. I mean, I didn't look too closely on the boulders before that, but I tried to get a glimpse at least. But it's always exciting to see different betas, but actually I think on most boulders we've seen there is one certain beta that's the best way, and if you find that, you got the best chances to do it. I'm really excited to see Yoshiko on his last boulder now. I mean, you said we don't do bold predictions, but I think if he tops that one, he makes finals.
Well, there we go, big words from Jakob there. Yoshiko on his final climb of the day.
I mean, he might even have a shot without making it, but I'm just saying if he does that one, we're going to see him in finals.
I think we definitely are. I think we can predict that. He's climbing at the moment next to Miho Nanaka, who's just come out on women's number 1. On the left-hand side, Alexi Rupsov. Very powerful climber, but making pretty easy work of that slab. So he teeters his way across onto the zone hold.
I mean, Alexei is also a famous slab god. So
Yeah.
I'm sure we see a top from him here.
A slab god, I love that.
Oh, yeah.
I wish someone could describe me as a slab god, but I don't think they ever will.
That's how we call people that are really strong on slabs, you know?
Yeah, I wouldn't know. Miho Nanaka there on the right-hand side of your screen. She eyes her way across. Yoshiko Ogata on the crack of men's 4. We're seeing more and more cracks, Jakob, in competitions. Is it something that you like to see, or do you think it's a bit overrated?
I mean, if you want to have my opinion, I think it's definitely overrated. It's just like somehow there is sometimes some weird trends and route setters like to jump on them. But yeah, I think most climbers don't like to see cracks too much. I mean, it's not something as natural in the gym, especially. Like, you don't really train cracks in the gym too much. It's really difficult to set. And also on most rocks, you don't have as much crack climbing. I mean, you coming from the UK would disagree, but having granite in Austria, we don't have too many cracks, you know. So it's definitely kind of difficult to train it, and it's also like it often, if you're not a really good crack climber, you hurt your wrist really fast. So it can be kind of a problem with blood on the holds and stuff like that. So there's definitely some bad things about it, in my opinion.
I don't know, Jakob. I mean, you've climbed 9B, but what have you ever done on grit? You know, you just got to come over to the UK and prove yourself.
I mean, I've climbed there before, but I definitely have to improve my crack climbing a bit more. But I mean, yeah, like you said, I mean, it's kind of a trend. So we all knew it is kind of a trend. So I think every climber has tried to improve his crack climbing, and that's why we see most people not struggling with it so much so far.
Yeah, for sure. And that crack there, we've been talking about on the left-hand side of your screen. Very little friction on the inside of that crack. Meanwhile, Julia Chanaudy, she goes inverted as she tries to make her way through this technical section of this climb. Both toes there, almost in a bat hang position. As we can see her now, so technical on this boulder. There's a tiny little black holds underneath those grey volumes, which she's using for her thumbs, but that's a real problem. You can see Julia standing there, hands on hips, just looking a bit bemused at this point.
Yeah, this boulder looks hard. And just to, yeah, now we see the top from Alexi Rupsov. Nice one in the last minute, but he looks strong on it from the first minute already, so that's a huge top for him.
Yeah, it is. It was very interesting, again, in Moscow, watching Alexi. So emotional, having got that Olympic place. And that's something I hadn't seen from him, really, before. A real outpouring of emotion.
Yeah, I think the Olympic Games, I mean, they mean so much for all the athletes that make it, obviously. I mean, who doesn't want to be part of the first Olympic Games of his or her sport? And he's in the game for so long, so reaching that big goal maybe a couple of years before he ends his career is definitely huge.
Absolutely. Jessie Piltz, she tops women's 2, just in time.
Wow, yeah, huge, huge.
Yeah, I think that was 2 seconds to go there on the clock.
Oh yeah, that keeps her in the game. That's really good to see. Jessie is an amazing climber, so let's hope we can finally see a top on number 3 or 4.
Yeah, proving difficult these boulders so far. That's our scoreboard. Things will change as we progress through this competition. Remember, you can download that IFSC app, which will be giving you live updates. Me and Jakob aren't control of the graphics here. It would probably be terrifying if we were. We pressed the wrong buttons.
Oh yeah. I'm not skilled for that.
No, me neither, don't worry. Too much going on. And there's a lot going on as we see more and more athletes joining this stage. And the left-hand side, that is Belgium, Nicolas Collin, as he gets his semi-finals account started. An exciting semi-finals as we look at the routes. Such a different styles on offer here, Jakob, from slabs to physical problems, dynos.
Cracks.
Cracks, yep. A lot to test the athletes.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is always what the route setters try, right? They want to have as much diversity as possible, and I think they did a quite good job. Again, definitely looks like quite a technical round as well, but we saw Yoshiko doing the two really physical boulders with number 2 and 3 and being in the lead so far. So it's definitely a physical round as well.
Absolutely, that is Ross from the USA as he scrubs the crack. Mia Krampel from Slovenia. We're about halfway through this semi-final now. As Mia just brushing that hold. The athletes brushing their own holds due to coronavirus regulations. Jakob, do you prefer to brush your own hold, or do you like someone else to do it during a competition?
I think we all definitely prefer someone else doing it. I mean, it's not like I hate taking the brush into my hand and cleaning the holds. It's more of like time management. You don't have that much time on a boulder, and all the time you have, you want to concentrate on the boulder. When you're standing on a mat, you don't want to brush the holds or do anything else than just focusing on the boulder, trying to recover as fast as possible. So I think having to clean them to yourself kind of like takes away the time that you need to recover.
Yeah, it's a small thing, but it does play into it, and also maybe perhaps draws your attention away, your focus.
Exactly, but it's the same for everyone, so it's no big deal.
Ross there getting through the crack section as he gets a high left foot, takes a moment to chalk up. Athletes can decide to either chalk up at the bottom or, as he's doing, bring up a chalk bag.
But what kind of makes a difference is definitely that I think the holds are cleaned a lot less than they would be if there were professional or like brushers out there. Because like I said, I mean, you don't want to spend too much time cleaning because you want to spend time on the boulder and recover as well. So the holds might be a little bit more dirty for the last climbers than they usually are.
Ross there giving it absolutely everything. Currently lying in 5th position, Ross. 6 athletes make it through, so he's going to have to top that boulder really to be safe with so many top-class competitors still to come. That is Nicolas Collin of Belgium. Tape on his left knee, probably more of a precaution. See, eyes up that zone.
Nicolas hasn't had too many World Cup semifinals yet, I think, but he climbed really, really well yesterday. Like, he looked strong on every single boulder, so let's hope he can transition this into semis as well.
Yeah, sticks his tongue out there.
Oh, that foot slip was heartbreaking.
Yeah, Mia Krampel with 25 seconds. Ah, Camila, spectacular fall there. Zan giving it absolutely everything. Zan Suda from Slovenia. 4 seconds to go. That'll be it for this round.
Yeah, I think both rounds looked really hard. We haven't seen too many tops yet. But for the men, we've seen a top on every single boulder. Yes, we have. For the girls, there's still number 3 and 4 to be done.
So we see a rotation of the athletes.
Oh, and another German superstar on the wall now.
Alex Megos joins us here in Meiringen. Alex looking very relaxed. I was chatting to him yesterday. Seemed very chilled out. He always seems fairly chilled out, let's be honest, but...
For sure. I mean, super chill dude, really, really good friend of mine, and I really hope he can show his best in the semi-final round. I think if he can, then we will see him in finals tonight as well.
Yeah, Alex always sort of talks down his bouldering skills. He always seems quite surprised to actually be in this position, but we know how good he is as he comes across this slab, eyeing up the zone hold. There he is.
I mean, obviously he's even better of a lead climber, but that doesn't mean that he's not a world-class boulderer as well.
Absolutely. He just takes a moment to compose himself, looking back. I remember Alex actually winning the quiff competition with a slab a couple of years ago, so he can certainly do it. And look there, just so calm.
Alex is climbing well on slabs usually. He's really, really flexible, and he got a good feeling for his body, so.
So Jakob is with me right now, but I'm about to be joined by Sophia. Jakob, maybe if you do the end of this boulder, and then we'll say goodbye to you. You can go off and cheer that Austrian team on.
Sounds good.
Miho Nanaka there. I presume that was a top. I didn't quite catch it, but she's gone from the stage. Of course, once the athletes top that boulder, they can leave. So it is in their advantage to climb it quickly. The quicker you climb that boulder, the more rest you get before the next one. Vita Luken, as she comes into the top section. We haven't seen many women getting through here.
Yeah, now we're on the powerful part. She's fighting. I think she can do it. Come on. Allez, Vita.
Vita, high heel hook. One hand up for the press. She needs to match it. Two hands on that final hold, which she does.
That's the first top.
Fantastic effort for Vita. She just takes a moment to breathe there.
I'm fighting with Wi-Fi right now, so I can't see how she's doing in the ranking, but that top must have meant a lot for her.
Vita Luken, according to my Wi-Fi, that's jumped her up into first place.
Oh, yes.
2 tops, 3 zones. Jessie Pilks with 2 minutes to go. She takes a moment. Alexi Rupsov brushes those starting holds. Alex Megos now. 1:50 to go. He hasn't quite got the balance, but he's he seemed to fall for an eternity there. Jakob just trying desperately to hold on with his left toe.
Yeah, I mean, once you lose balance in the slab, you know you're off. And you just have to enjoy falling, basically.
Those mats, of course, padded. The wall here is high, topping out at about 5 meters, but the athletes aren't climbing all the way to the top of that 5 meters, but certainly not for the faint-hearted. Luchka Rakovic now, as she eyes up the final hold, matches it, sticks it. She was looking in fantastic form yesterday during the qualifications.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, so many strong Slovenian women, we keep saying it. I wouldn't be surprised if we see more than just 1 or 2 in finals tonight.
Absolutely. Janja Garnbret, of course, to come as we return to Alex Megos pressing his way out across that slab. You can see his left foot using the maximum amount of rubber available, heel to toe.
Yeah, he's struggling to get to the bonus so far, to the zone, sorry. Just before leaving, I miss-say that word one more time.
Jakob, you can be excused. You're an absolute legend of the sport, and it's been wonderful having you. People at home wondering why Jakob isn't climbing, didn't quite make it through to the qualifications, but we get to enjoy him in the qualification box.
Oh yes, now he's getting into the position to jump. Come on, Alex.
15 seconds to go. He's going to have to be quick here. Very static.
Oh, no. Chalks up one more time. This guy got some nerves. He's just making it in time.
Come on, Alex, look at
all
that.
Under control.
1 second to go. Alex Megos, always the showman.
Yeah, that's what we call time management, I guess.
Exactly, German efficiency. Thank you so much, Jakob, for joining me here today.
My pleasure, Matt. That was fun.
It's been wonderful as always. Enjoy the rest of the competition. We'll catch up soon.
Thank you.
Maybe see you in the finals, who knows, but thank you very much, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, I hand it over.
That was Jakob Schubert there. Wonderful to have him. And I'm about to be joined by someone new. Welcome to the commentary box, Zofia Yakomoa. Sorry, I said Yakomoa. I introduced you, sir. You say your name for us.
Sofia Yokoyama.
Apologies, Zofia. Zofia, lovely to have you. Team Switzerland, of course.
Yes.
Unlucky about qualifications, didn't quite make it through.
Unfortunately, no.
But you get to join me to talk us through the second half of the finals.
Yes.
Zofia, you've been sitting out in the audience.
Yep.
How has it been for you so far? What's the atmosphere like in the stadium?
Well, since it's close to the public, it's quite empty, but all the athletes are here watching and encouraging their friends they're friends, and so it's really nice to see. Oh, and top for Andrea. I think that's even a flash.
Andrea Kuman, your teammate. As she tops out that women's #1.
Yep.
Meanwhile, Francisca on women's 4. Sophia, this is such a technical boulder. I mean, the athlete's literally spinning around to get this one done.
Yeah, this looks really tricky. It seems that there's quite a few methods that work, but I mean, yeah, to figure out how to use those volumes and where to place your feet is quite tricky.
Absolutely, but she's doing well into that second physical section. And with 3 minutes on the clock, now she's worked out the beater.
That could be doable, yeah. Yeah, she looked good.
That is Nicolas Collin as he brushes men's #2.
Yeah, this #2 just looks so powerfully hard. You're practically campusing the first move to get to the bonus.
Exactly, and you've got to keep moving on it, because if you try to stop, those holds are designed for you to keep moving through them. So, thank you, Jakob. I'm now with Sophia. My name is Matt Groom, and we are live streaming these semi-finals. The finals taking place tonight, so set a reminder for that.
They start at 7 p.m.?
Yeah, a bit before, I think, but about that kind of time, so.
Oh yeah, because they've got to present the athletes and all of that.
Yeah, so we'll be bringing you all that live action this evening. But meanwhile, we are here for the semi-finals. There's 20 athletes for the men, 20 for the women. They try to make it through to that finals. Sophia, what's it like backstage now for those athletes? Because the ones who haven't climbed, we're talking Akio Noguchi, Janja Gambret, Natalia Grossman, and then Adamondra Dominškovic. Lots of athletes to come. What will be their mindsets as they wait to come out and compete?
Well, I think the last ones who are climbing are the ones with like the most experience and who do finals most of the time. So I guess they're used to having this pressure, and usually when you're behind, you do feel stressed, but you're also excited to go out, see what the route setters have set for you. So it's also quite exciting. But yeah, when you hear the crowd cheering and you hear the people saying, oh yeah, top, it can get a bit stressful. You're like, oh, maybe I do need to actually do better and get a couple of tops to actually make finals.
Oh, big jump up there, sticking it, and the top.
Nice.
As he matches Nikolai Uznik there.
Yep.
As he walks away, having made quick work of his starter for this semi-final. Sophia, obviously these athletes get 5 minutes to climb these boulders. If they do it quickly, they get more of a rest.
Yeah.
How important is that to an athlete's progression through the semi-finals?
Well, sometimes, depending on the boulder, if it's very physical, 5 minutes can be really short. And when you head out onto the next boulder, you already feel tired and pumped from the boulder before. So if you do manage to finish before and have a good 2 extra minutes to rest, that does actually help quite a bit. But you got to do with what you've got. So 5 minutes or not, you just give everything on the next boulder.
Absolutely, and these athletes won't be saving anything. This semi-final's so difficult, and only 6 athletes going through. Francesca, she's been wonderful to watch, really expressive climber. But her competition is done as she walks away, and we see more athletes run out onto the stage. Alex Megos is back in the house. There he is, looking at men's #2. And we saw Alex just topping out that slab with 1 second to go.
Yeah.
This boulder perhaps more his style, something a bit more physical, a bit more dynamic.
He is a very powerful climber and very, very strong. So this boulder may suit his style a bit more, but it is really coordination, and I'm not really sure how good his coordination is, but pure strength, so he could easily do it.
Well, Alex Megos thug his way through it. We'll see, time will tell. Meanwhile, Manu Cornu.
On the slab.
Manu has one of the best highlight reels in climbing. Absolutely love watching him. And Jessie Pilks next to him on women's 4, her final boulder.
Having only 4 boulders in semis is really different to 5. It goes by so much faster, even though it's only 1 boulder difference.
keep an eye on Jessie Pilzer because she's currently sitting in 8th place. She's going to need to climb this boulder to get into the finals.
Yeah, because there's only one top on this boulder, right?
Yeah.
And it's Vita.
Yes, and that jumps
She did
Vito
really
right to
well.
the top of the leaderboard standing. So Jessie needing a top to continue through. Sophia, watching these boulders, are you sort of disappointed you're not out there trying them?
Yes. My hands are all sweaty, my feet are sweaty, and I mean, it would be amazing to be out there trying them, but just also watching is really fun. Top for Manu.
Manu making it look easy as he spins down. With lots of time left on the clock. Meanwhile, the rest of the athlete, Manu just taking a moment to chill there on the left-hand side. Putting his mask on as Jessie, she gets into the meat of her route on women's number 4, just not working it out yet.
I do think the technique is to get your feet above your head and then manage to do like a 360 around the hold and then over to the bonus. Oh.
And you can see on screen there's the athletes out on stage at the moment. Alex Megos, Alexi Rupsov, and Tomaki Takata.
Who just topped Tomoaki.
Tomaki.
I love his name.
So, some athletes finishing still out there battling as Jessie Pilz now using the beat you suggested with the feet above the head.
It does look hard.
It really does. Jessie Pilz's final possibility is slipping away as Miho Nanaka from Japan. She takes a swing.
That jump does not look easy. You have a lot of swing and you're supposed to go straight out to the left volume, so it's hard to hold on.
Just watch Manu Kono be very casual there.
Happy to top.
And that is Tomoaki as he matches that top hold.
Oh, Megos. Interesting.
Yeah, Alex still struggling. There's a minute 30 on the clock at the moment. Luchka Rakovic as well. And there is Jessie Pilz, feet above her head.
Yep.
1 minute 15 to go.
She's managed to grab the second hold underneath the volume.
Sophia, for people perhaps new to climbing, that move that she's doing with her toes there's rubber across the toe patch, and that just applies a little bit more friction.
It does help a bit compared to shoes where you don't have that rubber on the top, but it also demands a lot of like strength in the shins and the calves. So yeah, I'm really bad at toe hooks.
Maybe she's in foot fingerboarding, perhaps. Maybe that's the next thing. Who knows?
Bat hangs.
bat hang training, exactly. Roxana there on Boulder, women's number 1. Trying to find the balancing point with her arms. Stretching out fully, she's aiming for that zone hold now. Transferring the weight to her foot.
Yes. Oh.
Taking it forward, 9 seconds to go. That will be the end of her first boulder. And Jessie still fighting with 4 seconds to go. Will she get the zone? She does.
Oh,
and gets timed out. That might not be enough for Jessie, currently sitting in 8th place. As we see a new rotation of athletes. Sophia, we're starting to see some perhaps more established names coming through now, but so far everyone been putting on an amazing performance. Seen a lot more tops than I actually thought we would at this stage.
Yeah, the boulders seemed a lot harder when just looking at them before, but there's a lot of climbers who managed to pull off a really good performance and have topped hard-looking boulders, so it's really nice to see.
Camila on women's number 4. Can she unlock this sequence? She gets her right toe above her head, left toe to match. That's the athletes currently out in the match as Stasha Yeo, she joins the fray on women's 1. As you can see her just on the corner of your screen, rocking up powerfully onto that slab. And for the men, Jerne Kruder is on slab number 1. Jerne Kruder, never a shy climber, always lets his emotions known.
He's really fun to watch too.
Yeah, he really is, but struggling a little bit, as you can see on the top left of your screen now, with that running start hold.
Volumes are very hard to understand sometimes. Where to put pressure, how to place your feet.
Sophia, explain to us what you mean by a volume as a hold.
So a volume is just a very big hold in which usually doesn't have any extra handholds, footholds, and you're really 100% pressure on the feet, and you've got to trust your feet to be able to move afterwards. So volumes are very technical and very trustworthy. If you don't trust your feet, you're never going to move along volumes.
Yeah, and route setters sort of play with it, don't they? You can use volumes to change the angles of the walls and create even more angles on a surface.
Yeah.
Medji there.
They enjoy putting extra, 2-3 volumes on top of each other, creating more angles.
Yeah, just messing with the climbers' minds a little bit as Medji, he rocks up, pressing his body before losing purchase and coming down with 2 minutes 22 as he tries to work that route out. Meanwhile, Jerne Kruder, he gets established, aiming for that zone now. You can see his fingers just pinching the top of that volume, and that's the zone from Jerne. Oh, we've seen so many athletes falling in slow motion on that move as they lose the balancing point. So my name's Matt Groom. I'm joined by Sophia Yukiyama from Team Switzerland. We had Jakob Schubert on earlier. As we're getting through this semi-final period now, it always goes so quickly, doesn't it?
It's crazy. Especially when you've got the stronger ones climbing now.
Jerne Kruder, come on Jerne, as he's using everything he can, almost trying to crimp the wall there with his fingers. Camila next to him.
Andrea heading over to the volume, got the bonus.
That's Andrea on women's number 2 off your screen. Sophia will keep an eye on that. There she is.
Come on, Andrea.
Andrea, a compression problem, so powerful, using every muscle in the shoulders. Just drops the top there from Andrea Kumin. With 1 minute to go, do you think she's going to give it another crack?
Yeah, she's definitely going to give another attempt, but it is very tiring, that border, so it may be hard.
We're going to see a replay of Jerne there as he tops out men's number 1. With about a minute to go for him. He'll be happy to get that one done and out of the way. That is Nikolai Uznik on your left, on men's 2. Andrea, shake of her head there. I think she's calling it a day. Camila now, pinching that volume. There is a small black nubbin underneath there that she's using to hold on to. Camila fighting till the end on that final boulder. Camila not in the top 6 at the moment.
Yeah, it's nice to see the athletes fight as hard as they can on each border.
Yeah, it really is. I love it when they fight right to the very end.
Yeah.
I mean, why not? If your competition ends there, go away with no skin on your hands.
Exactly. Go till you bleed on your fingertips.
Exactly, some war wounds for these guys. Brooke Rabatu joining us on the top left as she starts cleaning her women's number 1. That's the leaderboard at the moment. Jessie Piltz, for a while it looked like she wasn't going to make it in, but she's currently sitting in 5th position. Not guaranteed, risky for her. Some nail-biting moments for the Austrian team.
Yeah. It was like Sasha yesterday. He was 19th throughout most of qualies, and until the very end he was just stressed and finally made it.
Yeah, when you're constantly refreshing your phone screen to see if you got in. Alex Magos in the middle of the screen, Manu Cornu Nathaniel Coleman on the left and Alexi Rupsov on the top right. That's the men currently on the stage competing. Nathaniel Coleman, I chatted to him yesterday. He was excited to be here, said he was battling jet lag a little bit, but...
I can imagine, they arrived really like late.
Who needs sleep when you've got climbing to keep you going?
Yeah.
Nathaniel now, you can see on this split screen view, we've got new graphics this year. As Miho Nanaka, she's making short work of that section as she gets the zone.
Making it look easy.
Yeah, she really does. Now starting to struggle, presses up, but looking good. Miho's such a powerful climber as well.
Yeah.
Are we going to see another top for Miho as we flick to the bird's eye view of her? Nathaniel drops that dyno. Miho now, last press, sorts her feet out, high heel hook, pops with the right hand. A little wry smile from Miho, because we are seeing some athletes attempt that right heel, but then drop their feet down and almost standing more with their weight directly underneath them.
I think that would be the easiest way to go, because there's nothing to hold onto the volume besides a small thumb. So just having complete pressure beneath you does make things easier. Oh, Megos.
Yeah, Alex Megos, as he eyes up the top, is he going to make this stick? He does. Matches it.
Nice.
Matches it for ages there, Alex, just making sure.
Just to be sure he gets the top.
Yeah. Did you see that, Mr. Judge? Cool. All right, moving on. Alex Megos walks across. Manu Cornu on men's number 2. It's a physical start. You've got to keep moving, and we'll see this now. It's a coordination dyno move. He's almost looking to do that statically then. He had a moment.
It also looked like he was thinking of putting a toe hook on the next hold.
That's what I thought. I didn't want to say it in case I thought I was going absolutely crazy, but you saw his eyes flick up to it. Nathaniel Coleman there, as he uses the very edge of that volume for purchase, padding that right foot out as he now eyes the corner of that wall. On our screens there, Sophia, that looks almost straight as he sticks that hold. We'll talk about this in a sec, as he pops up. The match for Nathaniel with 1:20. Yeah, I was just saying that corner looks flat on your screen, but there is a bit of an angle there the athletes can use to press against.
Exactly. You could push against, and that helps you a bit keep balance, and if needed, to push up on your feet to go higher on the wall.
Alexi Rupsov jamming. That's what we mean by when we say a jam. His left hand just pressing out with the knuckles as he claws that right hand onto the hold, aiming for that side pull, but doesn't quite find it. Sophia, are you a fan of cracks? Jakob was, he wasn't a fan, let's put it like that.
Well, luckily for me, I haven't had any in a comp yet, but I have no idea how to hold them, so I'd be happy if they don't have any. Oh, it's hard.
Miho Nanaka from Japan topping out there. Lovely for Sophia to join me. Sophia, this is your first time commentating, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Welcome. Thank you for joining me today.
It's nice to be here.
Very different perspective, isn't it, when you're watching these and you've got to talk about what the athletes are doing.
But we've got a good view, so.
We do. Best seats in the house for us, very lucky. Manu Cornu with 11 seconds to go.
Oh.
It's not going to be enough for him. As the clock ticks down, 3 seconds to go.
Very hard boulders.
And the rotation continues. Sota Amagasa of Japan on men's one, I should say, as he just cleans up that hold, getting ready. I find it very interesting watching in the first initial seconds of these athletes, because some of them come out and they immediately jump on. Others just take a moment to compose themselves, check it out, because this is on site for these guys. They haven't seen these boulders before.
Since there's no brushers right now at the moment due to COVID, everyone else has got to brush their own holds. And the ones who just go straight onto the boulder, they're taking it, they're going big, because, I mean, you've had approximately 15 athletes go before you, not necessarily brushing as good as a holds as if you had brushers, but I think it's good to just like take a little break, read, brush, and then attack.
Yeah, I missed the brushers. I think we should shout out all the
same.
brushers. They are talented people. I honestly don't think I could deal with the pressure of being a World Cup brusher.
I think we underestimate a lot of the job they have.
So here we go. Jene Kruder there, brushing the holds.
Top for Oriane Berthe.
Yeah, Oriane there. Very young climber.
Very talented.
Extremely. Oriane as well, been absolutely crushing Fontainebleau in France.
Amazing.
One of my favourite bouldering areas, and go and check out her videos online. That is our athletes at the moment. Sota Amagasa, Jene Kruder, Nikolai Uzdik, and Nicolas Collin. Mia Krampel not making that move stick. Again, the high heel we saw. I think Oriane flashed that boulder, I'm pretty sure. I'm going to pull up the app and have a little look.
I think so too.
Strong performance from her.
Takes a bit of time for the results to load.
Yeah, some of us battling Wi-Fi as well as we look. Yeah, Oriane flashing that.
That hold on number 3, I think all the guys think it's a very good hold, but it's actually double textured inside, so it's not as good.
Yeah, because both me and Jakob at the start were saying, oh, it's a jug, they're going to make that. And yet we were watching athletes peeling off it.
Yeah.
Turns out it's not a jug. Nicolas Collin then used a technique that I want to chat about, which is called laybacking. So he's, instead of jamming it with his knuckles, he's going to getting all his body weight to the left-hand side.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's also quite hard because, like you told me, there's no texture on those holds. So, I mean, if there was texture, it would be a lot easier, but right now with no texture, I mean, yeah, it might not be the best way to do it.
Yeah, I think it's all about the jam on that.
Yeah, try to get an arm in there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, arm, face, whatever it takes. Sota Amagasa there. He kicks things off with a top with 1.5 minutes to go. Andrea Kumin on women's 3. That's that move you were talking about with the swing. And that white volume, that's what they're meant to use to kick their foot on to stop that swing.
Yeah, but no one's made it for now.
1 minute on the clock coming up. That beep we hear, that signifies to the athletes 1 minute to go. Estacia, this running start with a toe hook around the corner.
I think all the athletes who made, okay, I take that back. But all the athletes who made the board before jumped straight up to that blue hold, which is higher up.
I was chatting to Stasia, who's on screen there, before this comp started. She was just saying how excited she is to be back on the competition circuit.
Wow.
She easily tops that out, jumping to the top.
Straight to the end. Yeah, because she's been off the international circuit for a while now due to surgery, injuries, and all of that.
Yeah, I took a very serious knee injury, and you can see I love Stasia's focus. She's so determined, so aggressive with it.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It is amazing, isn't it? It really is. Jene Kruder, not on screen, but there he is, was just trying to heel hook that first hold.
Yeah, I think you just need to just power up and go straight to the bonus.
Absolutely. So we get an athlete rotation through, and we'll see who's competing in a minute. Luchka Rakovic in the middle, just cleaning up the holds. Nathaniel Coleman, he's in the middle. Natalia Grossman, she's out for Team USA on the right-hand side.
She did amazingly during qualies.
Yeah, we were saying earlier, the whole Team USA, really, really strong, looking great.
Yeah, the Slovenians and the Americans, just whole team practically in semis.
Yeah, dominant performances from them. And there is one of the Slovenian team in the middle, Lučka Rakovic. She gets that toe up above her head, matches with the feet. Alex Megos on the crack. You can see fist jamming there, I think. He has a look at that crack. Manu Kornu next to him, Nathaniel Coleman and Domin Škofic on the left-hand side. Domin Škofic came second in the Slovenian Nationals recently, so he's on form in bouldering. Perhaps more known as a lead climber,
but doing very well on the World Cup bouldering circuit.
There he is, as he transfers his body weight. There is Lučka.
Doing really well.
That hold that she's got her left hand in, it's dual textured, so there's no friction on the black section, friction in the middle.
Yeah.
Natalia Grossman there. She tops out. Lučka, hands on hips. I think her body language says it all there. What is going on with that
What
boulder?
do I need to do next? But it's crazy how some athletes can just make it look so easy. And you're like, oh, okay. And then others, you're like, okay, maybe actually the boulder is harder than that.
Exactly. Put someone like me on these boulders, you see how hard it truly is. It's Domin Škofic. He's got 2 minutes. Plenty of time to get this done as he eyes up that zone hold, creeping that right hand down the volume. Touches for the zone. That'll be enough to get the points for the zone, but he didn't quite look in control for that, did he?
Yeah, it's very delicate how they give you the bonus hold sometimes. They say controlled or used, but what is really the definition of controlled?
Yeah, I was trying to get to the bottom of this actually, asking a judge about it, and he was like, look, it just depends on the climb, because sometimes you actually have to use a zone almost dynamically, you have to move through it quickly. Is that control? It's a grey area. Alex, muscles standing out on him as he pops out to that left, not comfortable on the crack at the moment.
Yeah, I don't really think it's a complete crack because they blocked the inside, so you can't really fully get a fist in.
Yeah, the difference between a fist jam and a hand jam. A fist jam is, as it sounds, using your fist.
Yep.
A hand jam, more the knuckles. Domin Škofic there, just trying to work out. I've seen him use a few different methods through there.
It's good to change methods sometimes, to try different things, but sometimes staying to one method which know will work is also good.
Yeah, Brooke Rabbit, who you saw briefly on the screen, she's one of the Olympians competing this weekend. Lučka, can she finish this off now? Bumps out to the right-hand hold. Finds that dish-shaped half-moon thing she's going to. Not a lot on it, there's just a small edge, which she catches.
Good fight.
Again tries the heel. We know that's not the way, Lučka. But will she make it work for her? She pops up. It just seems the second the athletes stick in that right heel, they're just becoming unbalanced on top of that hold.
Their butt kind of moves out, and so they can't stay as close to the wall, which makes it harder to grab the last hold.
Alex Megos using what can only be described as a sort of crimped fist jam there.
Got to use anything you can.
Yeah. Any crack climbing aficionados out there, I'm sure they'll be having something to say about that. So here we go again, nearing the end of this semi-finals. The finals taking place in a few hours, around about 6:45. It's so hard, Sophia, to judge the grades of these boulders, and it's a question that people always want answered that is impossible to answer, because some of them might be as easy as perhaps 7A, 7B, and yet 5 minutes to go, you know, that becomes a very difficult grade to climb.
Yeah, the time does make it a lot harder because some of the boulders aren't necessarily hard, it's just very technical, and in 5 minutes, if you don't figure out the method straight away, it can be hard to do. But yeah, grading comp boulders is really hard.
That is our athletes on stage, and the gentleman you see on the top left-hand corner of your screen, Mr. Adam Ondra from the Czech Republic. Probably one of the most famous climbers in the world. 9C,
Yeah.
of course, with silence.
So strong.
So very strong. And it's been interesting with Adam. He's been keeping himself a little bit to himself this competition. I haven't seen him around a lot. Very, very focused at the moment.
Yeah, he's a very focused athlete in general, and whenever there's a comp, always seems very concentrated and doesn't want to be really distracted, but which is understandable.
Absolutely. When the stakes are this high, you have to be focused. Oriam rocking up there.
Whoa!
How is she making that work?
She's 100% on her heel hook.
Oriane Berton from France. Recently sent font 8C in font. We know how hard that is as she comes down. Adam Ondra, meanwhile.
Top.
It looked a bit like he was climbing in slow motion.
Yeah, he's very tall, but does seem to climb slowly in general.
Adam Ondra having a moment to look down the line at the boulders to come.
Yeah, that's something which is quite good to do sometimes. Just have a quick glance of the boulders that await you.
Yeah, because as we said, on site, they haven't seen these boulders. They haven't practiced them before.
Yeah. Unlike in finals where they do have 2 minutes to look at the boulders beforehand and read and figure out their methods.
Akiyo Noguchi, what a legend of the climbing scene she is.
She's awesome.
And making good work of that about halfway through this. Akiyo is the second to last women athlete we're seeing out today. We've only got Yanya Garnbrett to come.
The Yanya.
The Yanya.
One and only.
Oriane Berton there, looking at women's number 2. Meanwhile, Yene Kruder on that tricky men's 3. As he crosses over, that left hand he's got there on screen is actually pretty good. But it needs to be. No real footholds, just the volume, and he tries to snatch at that match.
Yeah.
Oriane now, she bumps up. Compressing her body for these moves.
Nice.
That's impressive.
Yep. No need of that last volume, just go straight to the top.
Sophia, a little smile. Nikolai Uznik, as he tries to dyno through that crack, you can see his frustration there on his final boulder. Hello, if you're at home, joining us for the first Boulder World Cup since Vail in 2019, so it has been a while.
Yep. Some athletes did a post and they were like, I don't remember the number of days they put on, but it's been a long time.
It has been a long time, but it's great to be back, and the athletes putting on a show for us as always. My name is Matt Groom. I'm joined by Sophia Yokoyama from the Swiss team on home soil here today.
Yes. So exciting being able to compete here. I would say in front of the home crowd, but no crowds allowed.
I'm sure there's crowds at home supporting you in front of computers, sending comments in, which is nice to see. So thank you to everyone who's joining us. As we see an overview of this bouldering wall, sponsor logos on top, holds in the middle. And the route setters were here very early this morning, just tweaking it. To let you in a bit behind the scenes sort of information, they reckoned that they kept the men's boulders for the semi-finals at about the same level as the qualification, and the women's they've made slightly harder than the qualification.
Yeah.
Were you surprised by just how strong the women were yesterday?
Yeah, I was, after watching men's qualies, I was kind of expecting really hard boulders, but for the group B, to make semis, you had to do 4 tops and quite good attempts, and so you had to really do a good performance.
That is the athletes carry out. Yenya Garnbrett is on women's slab 1, creeping her way up, and she sticks it. I'm pretty sure that was a flash for her.
Yep.
Jan, you're on the far right of your screen. Comes down, blink and you miss it. Natalia Grossman, Rabatou.
Domin did the heel hook method.
Domin in the center of your screen there from Slovenia. Looks like he's going to get a top. And he does. Heel hooking his way to glory.
Wow.
Domin Škofic looking hyped there. I was actually with him a couple of weeks ago at his ranch in Slovenia, his own private climbing wall.
Yeah, their gym is amazing.
It really is amazing. I do think it's sort of cheating to have an entire climbing wall to yourself, but you know. But he's been working very hard on that.
They even have an Instagram account where you kind of can see the progress of them building it, which is really fun.
It is, and there's a replay of his top. Domin getting hyped. That is Nathaniel Coleman. Two teammates from the USA next to each other. Natalia Grossman, she hooks out right.
Nice.
Natalia there, one of the smaller climbers.
Yeah.
Is size ever an issue in these bouldering competitions?
I think sometimes you do have height advantage boulders where, just for example, the boulder number 2, if you are smaller, you're a lot more stretched out and you're going to have to squeeze a lot more on your hand, a lot more on your toe hook, and just give a lot more power to do the move. But up to a certain level, I guess, height, if you're good, right?
Yeah. I mean, as a smaller climber myself, it's one of my go-to excuses. So don't take this away from me, all right? I need this.
I like to use it was the height, which was a struggle.
Nathaniel Coleman there in the middle. We saw Jerne slightly struggling on that match, but he's cruising that move up to this slopey. There's a tiny little edge on it, but it's not a lot.
Yeah.
Nathaniel thugging his way through that move as he pops up to the final hold. Just the match for him, which he does.
He made that look super easy.
He really did, didn't he? Nathaniel Coleman there, getting the signal from the judges. That's a bit new this year, those judges' scorecards. It's just because of different coronavirus regulations, they've had to bring that in just to let the athletes know. Natalia Grossman now, she nears the top. Will she need that left volume? She decides to use it. Stretching up.
Nice.
There we go, we talked about height.
Yeah.
Not an issue for her.
Nope.
There's Manu Cornu. She's crimping that slopey hold. Getting a toe jam in.
Yeah, putting your feet on non-textured holds is just horrible.
Koro Fuji there, kicking off his competition. Manu Cornu.
Showing his frustration.
Yeah, it really was. I feel like I've been watching competition climbing for a while now, and his hairstyle's changed so much. I feel like I can base the years on his hairstyle.
Yeah, his first couple of years in the international season, he had a really nice haircut.
I think
some weird
leopard at one point. Right, athletes running out, 5 minutes on the clock. Adam Ondra is back on. Let's see how he deals with men's number 2. You get the feeling with Adam that he's kind of looking for a flash on every boulder at this point.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes if he doesn't flash, you can kind of tell. It's like, oh, I wanted to flash that, but I guess the end objective is just to make the boulder, so.
Yeah, for sure. That is Stasia Gill. She gets herself ready, chalking up. Just taking a moment of calm, almost 40 seconds gone into her round, but again, when you get to this level, although yes, it's important to top the boulders, flashes do count for more points. It's better to do that, so taking a moment just to read the boulder to try to climb it first time is sometimes important.
Yeah, and I find it so cool how athletes can easily flash borders. Like Yanya, 5 flashes in qualies.
Yeah. Stasha now, you can see using those little black holes underneath the grey volumes with her thumb.
Oh yeah, you can see them a bit there.
Missing that one with her right hand. There she finds it. Upside down now, she's got to spin all the way around, which she does.
She's doing well.
Stasha,
So strong.
will she be able to get a zone? This is her first attempt on this boulder.
Come on.
Oh, just missing the slap into that crack. That hold she's going to, Zofia, it's very, very narrow. So obviously if you're trying to rush it, trying to snatch for it, it's going to be harder to hit.
Yeah, you've got to aim, and it's very stressful when you see mentally that the hold is kind of blocked. You're like, okay, I got to really aim well, and it is quite hard to do.
Absolutely. Akio Noguchi, she's on women's 2. Sent women's 1 fairly quickly. She stretches out right into that toe catch position. Spread out across the wall. Sota Amagasa next to his teammate, Akio Noguchi. He makes short work of that. Starts and then pops off. Adam Andre is also on stage. Stasha. Oh. That might
You can hear
catching
her
the
power
hands.
scream.
I love a good power screen, and that was a good one. Akio Noguchi matching the top. Great effort from her.
Beautifully done.
She's one of those climbers, I watched that and I realized that strength is not as important as I always think it is, because she just seems to float up some of those moves.
It's crazy. She has amazing flexibility, and she understands how her body works super well, so it just works so well for her in boulders.
Stasha now muscling her way through this section. Left hand in the crack, right hand on that undercling. She's going to pop out right to that big volume. Can't quite make it work. Stasha now just taking a moment as Adam with 1:25 seconds to go. No send for him yet. We're talking about his perhaps perfectionist nature. This is going to be frustrating him.
He was really close at one moment, so I think it could be doable.
Adam stares up at the wall, takes a moment to chalk up.
Japanese.
That is Sota Amagasa on men's boulder 3. He drops down to the ground. He's happy with that. Strong showing from the Japanese currently.
There are always new Japanese names that come out on the World Cup circuit, and they're just always so good.
Jakob was saying during the qualifications he could see sort of perhaps less well-known Japanese athletes coming for him.
Yeah, they've just got tons of athletes always coming out.
Stasha now with 30 seconds to go. She goes upside down again, shakes out that left hand, aiming for that slap into that crack feature. We can see the zone, the bonus hold. Spins herself around to the right way, gets it. You can see her hand. This is boulder number 4. She's going to be getting tired at this point, and it's so physical at this stage of the competition.
Yeah, and she's given also tons on the boulders before. Oh.
Stasha going down, no top for her, and no top for Ondra, I don't think. Brooke Rabatou on the left-hand side of your screen. Kokoro Fuji in the middle. Natalia Grossman. Domin Skofitz is on next to Janja Garnbret. Nathaniel Coleman, final athlete on stage at the moment. Now, throughout this competition, Sophia, and perhaps you can explain this for the audience, because at the beginning we saw very few athletes climbing, and then we saw lots of athletes climbing.
Yeah.
Why is that? How does that process work?
So they bring one athlete out at a time, and each athlete has 5 minutes to try their boulder. So since they start with the last qualified athlete from qualies, And since, well, they're the first climber going out and they are the first person to climb, well, you see one athlete and then you've got the second athlete that comes out and then the third, and then after a while you've got all the boulders which are taken.
Janja Garnbret there getting a flash of that boulder.
Easy peasy.
Has she fallen off yet?
I don't think so. No, she flashed all of her qualification boulders and she's flashed these two, so for now.
There is Brooke Rabatou, Olympic qualifier, of course. She gets the toe jam in there. Slightly different technique that from what we've seen.
She tried heel hooking the start hold, which did seem to work a bit, but then afterwards, if you try to match, if your heel hook leaves, you're just going to come off.
Domin Skofitz with 3 minutes on the clock. Not quite finding it, shrugging his shoulders. We said at the beginning, he's in good bouldering form at the moment. As he just brushes that hold clean.
Yeah, brushing volumes is extremely important because you just have a layer of chalk. And if you don't brush, your feet, your hands are just going to slip all the time.
Brooke Rabatou taking a moment to chalk up mid-move there. So physical, you can imagine the core that's going on to hold you in that position. Tries to match, she's got to bring those feet down now. Walking her way down, pressing up into that little black hold again, almost using a jam.
With her foot, yeah.
Domin Skofitz, you could hear him there just getting frustrated with it. Maybe he needs that. Nathaniel on the crack. So much energy required to hold that crack like that, those arms spread out wide.
So hard. Friction really changes everything. If you have no friction on the hold, it's just has so much more power. Whoa!
That whoa is for Natalia Grossman as she makes a wild dyno off the screen. We flick back to her now, heel up on the blue hold, aiming for that yellow. She's got to press down with her hands.
Yeah.
Here she goes, inching closer. It's a good hold if she can get it.
Oh, that's so mean putting the bonus hold over there.
Have a word, Sophia, with the route setters. It's not on, is it? It's really not on. She's going to struggle with this, though, with this left hand. She's going to have to flicker right into it somehow.
First female to make this move.
Can she do it? Right hand on it, snatches for it, misses it, gets repositioned. 1 minute to go on the clock. Got to get that right foot up on that blue volume. Fighting with that black volume, stretching that foot up. You can see inches away from the lip of it. Come on, Natalia. We're sticking with her as she battles for this move, trying everything. Brooke Rabatou on the left-hand side of her screen. She's getting close to the crack of her route as well.
She's managed to turn around.
What a journey she's been on during this.
Oh. Such a shame.
Heartbreak for her as she stands up, shakes out a hand. I think we're going to see a replay of this whoa move. There it is.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome to see. That's what the route setters envisaged, I think, when they set that.
But she did get the bonus hold, so that's good for her.
So, if you've been thinking this is been chaotic, incredible, I would agree with you, but now the focus comes down to a few athletes left. The last few on screen, Oriane Berton of France, preparing this ridiculously cool boulder. It really is.
It's really nice looking.
I wish I had the ability to climb something like that because it does look fun.
Oh, I would love to try the bonus.
Adam Ondra, he's back in the fray. Didn't climb his second boulder. We'll be looking to make amends on men's 3.
But I think the top 6 is quite finalized now, just depending on who will finish first, second, third, fourth, fifth. May change.
That doesn't sound finalised at all. Yeah,
But I
currently,
think the top 6 will stay like that.
yeah, currently Tomoaki Takata is leading the way for the men, whereas for the women, Vita Luken, she hasn't been knocked off, she's been there for a while, she's currently in first place. Remember, 6 athletes go through into the finals, and we'll wait for confirmation on that. Sota Amagasa there on screen, currently ranked 6th. Quick work of that crack from him.
He made that look quite easy.
He did indeed, as he comes into the volume. I think for some of the athletes, they must like, sort of breathe a sigh of relief when they get through the crack, but they've still got a lot to come as Adam drops that hold near the top. Sophia, what's it like climbing next to these sort of established legends like Ondra? I mean, I would be so nervous if I looked across and I was trying to qualify and there's Ondra, there's Akia, there's all these sort of legends of the sport. How do you deal with that side of things?
I remember my first ever World Cup, it was like back in 2015. I was so excited. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm in isolation with the best athletes in the world, and it was amazing. But I guess now over time I'm like, okay, they've trained hard, these are athletes who deserve to be there, and it's just awesome being able to climb with them.
And yourself, of course. I mean, like, you're established, and I suppose people coming up are going to be looking to you and thinking, wow, I'm climbing next to Sophia. Crazy.
Yeah, maybe.
Oriane, as she nears the top, trying to almost heel hook there. There's no friction really available in that.
No space. Come on.
Oriane, little power scream. She makes the heel work.
Easy.
Oriane.
First World Cup, first finals.
Yeah, and first one to really stick that heel hook, Peter, which we kind of were thinking wasn't going to work. Adam Ondra now, as he comes up, making that move look easy. It should be over for him now. I haven't seen an athlete really drop this section, and he doesn't. Got a match, of course, which he does.
Don't really understand what that last volume underneath the top hold is for. No athletes seem to use it.
It's just for annoyance, you know?
Yeah,
Just when you've done all the work,
Yeah.
just to really get to you at the very end. If it was me, I'd be scraping my face on it. Akia Noguchi, 1 minute 16, plenty of time for her. It's funny, when I say 1 minute 16, it doesn't sound like a lot of time, but it is enough to get these boulders done.
Yeah, usually you can count approximately 30 seconds to do a boulder. So when you do see a minute, you're like, okay, I probably have 2 attempts left, depending on how each attempt goes. But it's, yeah, time management. You've really got to understand how much rest you need, when you want to go, how much time it's going to take you to top the boulder.
And comp simulation is something we see a lot of teams doing, where, you know, you put the pressure on. Is that something you guys have been doing in the Swiss team?
Yes, we've had a couple of comp simulations before this World Cup, and it is to try to get you back into that comp mentality, but it's not the same. You do have 5 minutes per boulder, and you've got to try and figure out the method, but the pressure and the stress, it's not the same when you come onto comp boulders and really give it all on an international competition.
Yeah, and remember, this is the semi-finals. The finals is yet to come. 5 seconds to go of this round. And here we go. Janja Garnbret coming out on stage. 4 athletes joining us. A bit easier for us in the commentary box to keep up with.
Yeah, so now there's going to be less and less athletes on the wall.
There is Janja Garnbret. Just checking out. As we said, she hasn't fallen off yet, which is utterly ridiculous to say, but...
It's crazy. Let's see if she can flash this.
Janja, we stick with her as she pops out. Oh, there she goes. It was going to happen at some point. We've cursed her, Sophia, we've cursed her. She's going to give us evils later on.
She's going to watch the replay. She's going to be like, okay.
They said what? Ganya quickly back on though. This time making it look easy. Out to the black hold. Not even needing that extra blue hold on top. Literally doesn't use it. Will she now though?
Has she? Oh. No, she probably has seen it, but come on.
I mean, we watched Natalia Grossman fighting with that move. The difference with Janja, I mean, it's quite easy to see the difference. Just popping up.
Awesome. Yeah, Natalia was a bit further to the left using the blue holds, which made the bonus hold a lot further, but Janja just didn't need the blue hold and just went straight to the bonus.
It was interesting watching that dyno of hers because she stuck that yellow hold almost above the dyno, like an optimum position for her. There is Natalia Grossman. She's got through the techie first section of this route. Grimace on her face as she's fighting this. Bumps out with the right into that half-moon edge. Sophia, you sort of said, just before she fell off. Could you see in her body movements that wasn't going to stick?
You can usually tell when the athlete is in a really bad position, but sometimes you're expecting them to fall and then suddenly they do something amazing and they just make the move and it's so awesome to watch. But yeah, usually you can tell when it's kind of like, might be hard to make that move afterwards.
Kokoro Fuji there. He's topping out. Left on our stage now is Domin Skofitz on the crack. Looking at the undercling method to pull on here as he pops into that.
He's crimping the top of the hold.
Yeah, he really is, isn't he? Sort of a hand jam, sort of a crimp.
Yeah. Oh.
Not happening for Domin, as you could hear. Takes a brush there, just to clean up the back of that hold. 1 minute 38 seconds on the clock. So 3 goes. If we're using your...
Yeah, approximately 1 attempt per minute. Like if it's a jump, you could probably give like 10 attempts per minute, but...
Domin now pressing up. One wonderful thing about not having spectators is you can hear everything the athletes are doing, saying.
Yeah.
You can hear the breathing sometimes.
Yeah, I find that really cool because that's something you don't really realize, the power that they give, and just the power screams, being able to hear them, it shows how hard they're giving on each move.
Yeah, it brings you much closer to the action, and that's something I've enjoyed actually. Obviously we'd love to have crowds back, but there is always a silver lining. Natalia Grossman there, just missing the heel hooks. Manu Cornu just came over and took a photo of us. I think he was taking a photo of you, let's be honest. There's a climbing star in our commentary box, but it ain't me. Natalia walking off now. Domin Skofitz using an arm bar almost there. How much skin can you use to get friction?
Yeah, you got to use every part of your body sometimes.
Yeah, I have been known to jam my head into certain things, as you see. That is the women's, currently the Bordiana Gambra way out in front. 3 tops, 3 zones, only 4 attempts. If we look at the difference, I think she was on 4 attempts. Next athlete down was 14. That says it all, really.
Yep, she's just above everyone else.
She currently seems to be on a different level at the moment, but we'll see. Anything can change in the finals. Adam Ondra. Now, a lot of people have been saying that this is his bread and butter, is a crack. And I would agree with him. He's very good at this. Good outdoor climber.
Yeah, finals in Meiringen 2019. Made that last border so easily.
He did, indeed. So, will Adam Ondra flash the crack? Let's find out. Place your bets now, ladies and gentlemen. Akio Noguchi she takes on this technical women's four. Just 2 athletes on stage. Kyo taking her time. You can see the experience here, really taking her time. Adam Ondra, meanwhile, has pulled on the right. And as
Did that easy.
Yeah, he really did do that easy.
As expected.
Yeah, if you betted on Adam flashing the crack, congratulations, you're rich. Akio Noguchi now. This is where we see a lot of athletes struggling, this final section of this move.
She seemed to figure that out quite quickly.
Yeah, she really did. 2 masters at work on stage here at the moment. Adam Ondra nearing the top of his wall. We're sticking with Akio. I'm sure we'll see a replay of Adam in a second, but Akio comes up to her final 2 moves. This is going to be impressive. Adam Ondra, meanwhile, has flashed his boulder on the right. Akio, flash attempt for her too.
Yep. Oh, heel to the left.
That is different, Peter. How does she make that stick? It doesn't matter though, she tops it out.
2 flashes.
What a performance from both these experienced athletes. Akio walking off. Adam Ondra flashing his.
And now we have 2 minutes with no athletes.
This is where we discuss filling topics, but we won't. We'll see a replay of Adam Ondra instead as he nears the top of his section, this press move. He's getting that right hand and his arm in action. Pressing underneath with the left. Matches that top section and easy for Adam, really.
Yeah. Awesome.
I think that's enough for Adam to go through.
Yeah, I think 2 tops is enough for finals for both.
Yeah, it seems to be like that. That is the scoreboard at the moment. Adam Ondra leading the way. 3 tops, 3 zones, 13 attempts. Tamaki Takata comes second. That's the rest. Remember, only the top 6 go through. Sasha Lehmann down, didn't manage a top with that one. Slightly disappointed, you think, for him?
Yeah, I think so. He really wants to do well. And you can tell by his face sometimes that, yeah, he isn't happy.
Yeah, that was our women's top 6. Inigo Gambrett leading the way. Coming down. A few big names missing out, actually. Some athletes we perhaps would expect to be in that, just showing how difficult it is. We have 1 minute to go. Remember, once the athletes finish their boulder, they get to go off. So sometimes we see athletes climbing right to the end of the 5 minutes. And sometimes, as now, we get a bit of a break.
It's what usually happens when you've got the top athletes climbing. There's usually no climbers on the wall after a couple of minutes.
So Sophia, after this, it's Salt Lake City is the next competition.
Yes.
Will you guys be going over for that competition?
I think some Swiss athletes will be going. I won't be, because of school, but also because of results. It also depended on Meiringen. But I think there will be a couple of Swiss athletes going. Depending also on travel, if it's doable for them to head over all the way over to the States.
Yeah, we are missing a few teams here in Meiringen. Canadian team deciding not to join us, and a Great British team, just purely because of travel restrictions. It is difficult at the moment.
Yeah, Sean McCall did a post how heading to Switzerland wasn't the problem, it was heading back.
Yeah. So
yeah, it's hard sometimes having to not be able to do a comp just because of travel restriction.
Yanya Gambrett, Kokoro Fuji on the right. Now this boulder is going to be difficult to flash. It's very techy. Of course, we saw Akio do it. Will we see Yanya repeat that performance?
If you have the right method at the very beginning, it can be doable, like Akio showed us, but if you don't, then
Yeah, it's not one of those boulders you can sort of work out halfway through that you've done the wrong beater on. You're committed at that point, I think. Yanya, let's see what she can do. Underclings to start with, reaches up, thumb on that black hold, she cuts loose. Why not?
She's on a whole other level.
Deciding not to go with her feet first, doesn't need it. Although this is going to be a powerful move for her now, and just again, cutting loose fully. The power in Yanya bumps her left hand up the crack. Out to the side pull, climbing quickly now. Just the match to go at the top.
Whoa.
The left heel in the crack, easy match.
So easy.
So that's how you climb that boulder.
She is amazing. No need of toe hook. She was just able to match practically campus the first section.
It's outrageous, isn't it? Because the thing is, because she climbs it in such a controlled manner, it doesn't look particularly powerful.
I know.
But it truly is. Yanya will be going through. We'll see her in the finals. Meanwhile, final athlete out, Kokoro Fuji of Japan. Qualified in first place from the qualifications. That's why he's climbing last. Goes in reverse order. And that'll be the same for the final. So the athlete who qualifies 6th, they'll come out first. You can see that's a great angle. You can almost crimp the back of that crack.
Yeah. And at the back, there's a bit of friction, so that might help a bit.
2.5 minutes to go as we near the end of our semi-final. I hope you guys have been enjoying watching at home. My name's Matt Groom, and I'm joined by Sophia Yukiyama. Earlier, Jakob Schubert was in the box. And I'll be back with you later on this evening with another co-commentator.
Vladek taking a picture of us.
Yeah, we're getting packed a lot here in the commentary box, aren't we? So we're going to see a replay of Adam in a couple of minutes. We'll watch this play out first of all. Not quite comfortable, not a jam.
Yeah, and in 5 minutes for a boulder like this, it goes by really fast if you can't figure out the method.
Here he goes, pressing that crack. It doesn't seem comfortable yet. I remember back in that the Meiringen comp you were talking about when they initially had the crack.
Yeah.
Adam sort of having to explain to people what a crack was, how you climb it.
Yeah, there's tons of photos and videos afterwards of Adam like training all the Japanese how to climb cracks.
Perhaps this might need to be added back into their training schedule as Kokoro goes to the right-hand side of this, laybacking it in a totally different style. We haven't seen this. Just avoiding the left hold.
Yep.
50 seconds to go. He's going to have to work this out if he wants to send this. Perhaps the lessons from a couple of years ago not learnt on this one.
Well, he's in 6th place right now, and since he's the last athlete, his pace is probably guaranteed.
Yeah, I think he's safe, but look at this.
Know.
This is awesome to see that.
Oh,
Is it
wow.
toe hook underneath? I don't care if you can't crack climb. I'm enjoying watching this.
It's really cool how athletes think of different methods and how everyone just does things differently.
He's going to call it a day, though, with 13 seconds to go. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is about that. We're done.
Yep.
We're going to see a replay of Adam now. I know we missed the start of that crack, so Sophia, if you can stick with us while we watch this one. This is Adam's flash. As you can see, pretty easy. It's very interesting watching Kokoro and then watching Adam, the difference in technique there.
Yeah. And that's his outdoor crack experience, just proving once again that in comps it does actually help.
It really does. So, as we watch Adam claw his way up this route all the way to the top, this final section, pressing, using that toe, a palm underneath to steady himself. 7 o'clock tonight is the finals, 7 p.m. So make sure you come and check in with us.
Yes.
I'll be here. Someone else will be here. We've got to work that one out. as we see a confirmation of the results. Remember, top 6 athletes will go through. And there they are. Adam Ondra, Tomoki Takata, Yoshiko Ogata, Sota Amagasa, Nathaniel Coleman, and Kokoro Fuji is our top 6.
Japanese.
Yeah, incredible showing from that team. For the women, oh sorry, for the women, I preempted that one. That is the rest
The
of our
last 10.
semi-finalists. Yeah. Alexi Rupsov, perhaps missing out from that final. Might have expected to see him in there. And there we go for the women. Janja Garnbret leading the way. Oriane Berton, Mikio Uguchi, Natalia Grossman, Vita Luken, and Katja Depchek in 6th place. That is our top 6. We'll be excited to come back to you. Sophia, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for
pleasure
having me.
you.
It was really fun doing this.
It was awesome. You'll be back, I'm sure. I look forward to seeing you climbing in the rest of the year.
Yes, I'm excited. And see you on the next comp then.
I will see you there. Thank you very much, Sophia.
Thank you.
I'll say
Bye.
goodbye now.